and welcome. You're watching NewsX and I'm Megha Sharma. The Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has packed official schedule in Seychelles on 28th of June, marking a key day of diplomatic engagements during his visit. According to the program, the Prime Minister will hold high-level talks with President Dr. Patrick Hermine at the State House from 10 a.m. to 11:50 a.m. local time. He will focus on bilateral relations. Later in the day, tomorrow, Prime Minister will meet members of the Indian diaspora, followed by his address at the National Assembly of Seychelles. And in the evening, he will be participating in the National Day celebrations at Starlight Roche Cayman from 9 p.m. onwards, underscoring strong India-Seychelles ties. So that's an update on Prime Minister Modi's schedule on day 2 of his visit to Seychelles. Now, during Prime Minister Modi's visit to Seychelles, India has handed over the fast patrol vessel PS Leswar to the Seychelles Coast Guard, strengthening maritime security and surveillance capabilities in the region. The vessel that was built by the Goa shipyard is designed for high-speed operations exceeding 30 knots and will be used to protect Seychelles' vast exclusive economic zone. The initiative underscores India's commitment to enhance defense and maritime cooperation with Seychelles, particularly in ensuring security in the Indian Ocean region. Let's open up this conversation. Joining me on the telecast is Ambassador Manju Seth. Ambassador Seth, with regards to the importance that Seychelles holds in the Indian Ocean region, the Western Indian Ocean region, and why it is not just a symbolic visit that has been paid by Prime Minister Modi. It is in fact strategic for India to build these maritime associations and bilateral ties with an island so small, but with a massive economic zone.
Absolutely. I think it's the location of Seychelles and the very long history of cooperation that exists between the two countries. And as the Prime Minister has gone there for the 50th National Day celebration, that's the Independence Day celebration, and the 50th anniversary of our diplomatic relations. So it has been a long-standing relationship, very positive and very strong. And again, there wasn't an original Indian diaspora, but that's not very large. But we have a new diaspora there as well. And the fact that it lies in a very strategic location in the Indian Ocean, and we've had this joint sort of base over there, joint on Assumption Island of Seychelles. And we have been cooperating with them. They have been cooperating with us. Both of them working together to ensure maritime security. And it was a great help during the fight against piracy in the Indian Ocean. It's to monitor and to keep an eye on the large number of piracy incidents, which have gone down in the recent past. But this was an important, base. It's not exactly a base, but both the countries' navies work together on this. And I think it is a very good indication of the importance that maritime security has assumed in today's geopolitical, churn. And I believe that India, and it's also a very important member of our Mahasagar initiative in the Indian Ocean. So I think it's very clear that Prime Minister's visit is not just symbolic. Yes, there is some symbolism, but otherwise it is an important visit from each and every angle: defense, maritime security, and bilateral relations.
Absolutely. I also have with me Captain Sanjay Karve, and if you could, he's a former Indian Navy officer. Captain Karve, if you could shed more light into the strategic importance of Seychelles, the reliance Seychelles has when it comes to India providing security and maritime surveillance in the area. There have been a number of military drills. There have been a number of Indian naval vessels that have traveled to Seychelles in the past few years with regards to a number of times that, the Dornier maritime surveillance aircraft that have been gifted by India, the fast patrol vessels, one of them that has been gifted by India in the presence of Prime Minister Modi today itself. Why does Seychelles rely so much on India?
Good evening, Megha. If you look at the world map, you will notice that Seychelles occupies a very peculiar position in Indian Ocean. It is close to the important sea lanes of communication which controls most of the shipping when it comes to LPG, your natural gas, and oil supplies. Those Seychelles are only a group of islands. If you look at its EEZ, it is roughly 1.3 million square kilometers. Effectively, it is the eyes and ears of the Indian Ocean. And India has realized this importance way back, right from the early 80s. India has been ensuring that it is providing military support and non-military support to the Seychelles government in different formats. We have gifted them two Dornier 228 for maritime surveillance. We have gifted them Chetaks. For quite a number of years, Indian naval officers and Indian Air Force officers were seconded to the Seychelles Defense Forces for training their officers and bringing them up to world standard. With 12% of Indian diaspora in Seychelles, it is important for us to make our presence felt. And the Indian P-8I, which is the Naval Long-Range Patrol Aircraft, that also regularly operates from the Seychelles International Airport. What you need to note, this is on the east coast of Africa. And when you operate from Seychelles, it gives you a much bigger operating range in the Indian Ocean. If India has aspirations of becoming a superpower, or let's say a power to reckon with in Indian Ocean, we need to have outposts which have got huge amount of coverage and huge amount of sovereignty.
Yeah.
1.3 million square kilometers of sea is a huge amount of area which Seychelles has got. And it is not only the military hardware that we have given them. We have helped build structures for them. We have helped build them radars for information on meteorology. So it is in all aspects what India is doing with Seychelles is effectively what China has been doing with a lot of African nations. Give them help. So those nations are indebted to us. Fortunately for us, because of the Indian diaspora already there in Seychelles, it becomes much easier. And traditionally, generally every year, there is an Indian naval unit present in Seychelles during their national day for a fly past or interaction with the people out there.
Yeah.
I have been fortunate enough to take part in a couple of them in early 80s, in 81 and 82, when we had visited Port Victoria and carried out a fly past for the Seychelles people out there. And overall, in the present scenario, especially with what is happening in the Gulf, the shipping lanes are going to at times take a route via Cape of Good Hope, and we need our presence very close by to monitor and give support. And when you give support, you require logistic support for your own units also. You cannot be operating thousands of miles away from your base port without any support. So Seychelles gives you an excellent location to position yourself. It's a friendly nation to us.
Absolutely.
And what the Prime Minister has done is actually a very right thing.
Absolutely. Professor Nalapat, if you could, qualify this, an extremely lucid explanation that has been given by Captain Karve with regards to how strategically a nation Seychelles is for India and vice versa. And we take a look at the Indian Ocean region, and particularly with regards to, Maldives, which also lies in the western part of the Indian Ocean region. We take a look at Cape of Good Hope and Djibouti, where China has a stranglehold in these regions. How can we secure ourselves as a nation that has a stronghold in Seychelles? We already do. But could there be inroads that China might also want to make in this very important position with a topography that is hard to match in the area?
Yeah, you have raised some very important points, Megha. And I want to say that if my recollection is correct, Prime Minister Modi visited the Seychelles about a year after he became Prime Minister. So from the very beginning itself, Prime Minister Modi has recognized the strategic importance of the Seychelles to not just India, but the entire Indian Ocean region. Now, India is interested in a free, open Indo-Pacific. It's not interested in dominating the Indo-Pacific like a certain other country is. It's interested in a free and open Indo-Pacific. And as has correctly been said, the Seychelles is a very, very critical, very, very critical country from the point of view of security in the Indo-Pacific. Its location is there, and I must say Seychellois They are extremely talented people, and they're capable of a tremendous amount of, uh, of, of progressive reform in the sense of technical knowledge. And I think it's very, very important for India to build on that and to have a close partnership with them. What we are looking at is both India and Seychelles, an Indo-Pacific that is free and open. Secondly, all these international waterways that are free and open. You have some problems you have seen now in the Persian Gulf region. They ought not ever to have taken place for a simple reason. The Persian Gulf is international waters. It should not be said to belong to any country. So again, I would like to say PM Modi recognized this from the very beginning that Seychelles is important.
Yeah.
And I think this is his second visit as the Prime Minister.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
above all, I'd like to say that I think it's important for us to call as many Seychellois as possible to visit India and to see for themselves what a good friend India can be. Thank you, Megha.
General A.K. Sivaj, coming to you with regards to the vulnerabilities that are visible when it comes to the Indo-Pacific, where United States of America at this point of time has seemingly taken a step back. What with the Quad Leaders Summit not taking place this year, it was scheduled to take place in India. President Trump was scheduled to arrive over here, and that obviously has been postponed to, we do not know, an undisclosed date as yet. It has not yet been decided, where the US Indo-Pacific Command has dropped the word Indo from its command. How crucial and of great importance and urgency it is for India to be able to take control when it comes to strategizing and securing its territorial waters and the larger Indian Ocean region. Yes, in the east we have the Andaman and Nicobar Islands in the Indian Ocean region, and we are already strategizing it by putting in our military installments, surveillance activities taking place. But how extremely important is the western Indian Ocean region as well?
Absolutely correct. No denying the fact. You see, 2, 3 issues are here very rightly brought out. If you see the Indo-Pacific region, the Quad was becoming something which can challenge the hegemony of China. The basically free, open, and inclusive Indo-Pacific with the tenet of freedom of navigation, rule-based international order, maintaining territorial integrity and sovereignty of all nations, including minor island nations. But unfortunately, you've seen that the focus of US has shifted. Now it is no more there in Indo-Pacific, and you find it is more gone toward the Europe as well as Middle East. And now, as the situation is building up, the Quad is losing its importance, and that's why this Indo-Pacific Command, which was made when Trump 1.0 there, it has again turned back to its original name, Pacific Command. It gives as if the importance to Indian Ocean have reduced as far as the US is concerned. But having said that, as far as India is concerned, it is very important that Indian Ocean, India shows its presence. Remember that as far as Seychelles is concerned, it is lying on the basically world largest maritime, you can say, route. And that is where it is importance comes in, because it is approximately 2,500 kilometers east of African continent. And if Bab al-Mandeb is closed, then majority of the ships will be crossing that side. Also, 50 to 60% of trade still goes through this maritime trade route. So therefore, having a very good relation with Seychelles, and especially so because in 1976 they got independence from Britain, and after that they don't have very good relation with European country. It's a golden opportunity for India to maintain a good relation. And 4 things we can do. One is anti-piracy, counter-terrorism, then maintaining our presence, and then 1.3 million square, the exclusive economic zone which is present to us, you can then exploit that basically jointly. And third thing is cyber terrorism, that is space cooperation which is there, which you would like to do with the census. Remember, I visited that, and in one of the team which we have taken from the army, the training is been at large in last about 20 to 25 years. Number of officers are coming, number of the men of these are coming here. Our team is going and training them. Therefore, the relationship between these two countries are very good. We should exploit that. Remember,
Okay, all
5
right,
to
fair
10%
enough, sir.
of our
Let me also
population
quickly
there.
get in Ambassador Manju Seth into the conversation once again. Ambassador Seth, how huge a setback it is for India with the United States of America, dragging its feet in being able to further strengthen Quad and secure the Indo-Pacific region. Up until just a few months ago, perhaps a year ago, that was one of the priority areas for United States of America and other Quad nations. Ever since the US President Donald Trump has visited Beijing, held those talks with Xi Jinping, there seems to be a dramatic shift in the strategic focus that United States has up until recently in the Indian Ocean region, in the Indo-Pacific region. And do you think it makes India's task difficult in being able to secure the seas?
Very rightly said, Megha. To some extent, yes, it is a challenge. It has made it more difficult for India to be able to, ensure maritime security in the Indian Ocean and ensure freedom of navigation. but I think the U.S. President has this penchant for, saying something one day and retracting one day and then going back to it the next day. So we cannot be sure, because again, there were some reports saying that, yes, he's planning to come for the Quad summit to the US, to India. So I think this back and forth that the US president likes to do, that he feels is his style and in the best interest of his country. And he feels he can pressurize other countries to go along with what he has to say. But at the same time, the Quad, the fact that Quad is not as active as we had expected, and India was thinking, sorry.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Manju Seth. Captain Karve, let's hear it from you in terms of what strategies must India and Seychelles deploy, not just at the military level, naval level, bilateral level and diplomatic levels to further strengthen this relationship. Of course, financially, India has aided Seychelles in terms of the last deal that was signed. In fact, an agreement wherein India decided to finance $175 million during the last visit of the Seychelles president. This was in February this year. Of course, we at this point of time are pushing for digital payment system to be further built and strengthened in Seychelles. Seychelles being part of the International Solar Alliance, and there are so many other aspects when it comes to people connect, culture, and many other things. How can we forge our ties in the future?
Megha, what we have been doing in the last few years, in addition to the strategic partnership, the government has realized that we need to reach the people of the country who will eventually support us in case of any eventuality. Now, what India is doing is we are helping them develop high impact community centers. We have provided infrastructure for the University of Seychelles, and we have given n number of buses for the public transportation system. We have donated ambulances to the hospitals in Seychelles. Now what happens is, these are the things which directly affect a common man, and this also helps the ruling party or the ruling government in Seychelles to say, look, when I am partnering with India, it is the common man of this country, that is Seychelles, who is benefiting. It is not only strategic, it is a person to person or a citizen benefit incentive. When I see on the street a dozen ambulances roaming around with a tag donated by Government of India, obviously I feel that yes, I owe it to India for this help. Similarly, the government, the ruling party of Seychelles, whichever the party it may be, they also are able to project that what we are doing with India is eventually beneficial to that country.
Yeah.
And what the Prime Minister, Mr. Modi, is doing, he is exactly doing that. He is going on and getting into cooperation in fields which are varied. We are from space to farming to agriculture to education to medical. Handing over a boat, a petrol boat, is only a very small token. But majority of his issues which is handling this time are non-military or non-strategic. these are the issues which help building strong bond between two nations.
Okay, all right. I am getting more information. Prime Minister Modi has handed over ambulances to Seychelles. President Dr. Patrick Harmini, during his official visit, underscoring India's continued development partnership with the island nation. The handover marks a significant moment in India-Seychelles bilateral cooperation, particularly in the healthcare sector, aimed at strengthening emergency medical response capabilities in the country. The initiative reflects India's broader neighborhood first and development oriented policy approach with focus on capacity building and support for friendly nations across the Indian Ocean region. Professor Nalapat, as symbolic a visit it is for Prime Minister Modi, of course it's a special honor to be invited as the chief guest for the Golden Jubilee National Day celebrations in Seychelles. Again, the gifting of this fast patrol vessel amongst the many that have been gifted by India previously as well, in the previous years as well. Where do we see India-Seychelles association here on?
Look, I'd like to say very clearly that the Prime Minister going for the 50th anniversary celebration, being invited as the guest of honor, is very, very significant. This is not just the 44th or 34th or whatever. This is the 50th. It's a very important day in the history of Seychelles, and that relationship with India has only become warmer and closer. Seychelles is an ideal location for tracking through the help of equipment. I'm not going to go into more into that. You can track not just the skies above, but the seas around you. And the seas around you, as we all know, are far from tranquil. So Seychelles is ideal as a location for tracking. Seychelles is ideal as a location for picking up data. And Seychelles can be ideal tomorrow as a kind of a data center and as a kind of a brain bank. As I again repeat, the Seychellois are an extremely talented people. They are as talented as we are in India. And you know, the record of Indians in the IT industry is absolutely superb. The Seychellois are capable of that same level. And I think the Prime Minister is focusing a lot on person-to-person contact. His interactions are very warm, very cordial. He described the Seychellois head of government as my good friend, and they are good friends. And the Seychelles people have welcomed him as well. And they welcome him not just as Prime Minister,
Right.
but as Narendra, a very, a friend from India. So in a sense, Modi is not going as the Prime Minister. He is going as the representative of the 1.4 billion people of India. Thank you, Megha.
Okay, quickly getting in more information where Prime Minister has said that India remains proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with Seychelles as a trusted partner, emphasizing the deepening bilateral relationship between the two nations. In his message, the Prime Minister underlined the long-standing friendship between India and Seychelles and stressed the need to further strengthen cooperation in maritime capabilities and regional security. The statement comes amidst continued high-level engagement during Prime Minister's visit, reinforcing India's commitment to a strong and stable Indian Ocean partnership. I am going to bring in Major General A.K. Sivach to respond to my question with regards to this high-level engagement, which is not started today when the Prime Minister has visited Seychelles. In fact, it seems that, over the last 1 year and more, ever since the new president was elected in Seychelles, this was in 2025, President Patrick Harmini was elected, and India had sent its vice president to partake in the oath-taking ceremony, in the swearing-in ceremony of the president. Soon after, in February 2026, the president himself comes to India and meets Prime Minister Narendra Modi. That's a state visit. That's the first visit of the Seychelles president out of the country, and India is the country that he has chosen to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Not just that, there is the Foreign Minister of Seychelles who also visited India for the Raisina dialogue in March. Not just that, there was, of course, yet another visit of one of the Seychelles ministers to participate in the AI summit as well. So, it looks like with the new president installed in Seychelles, the relationship is becoming deeper. It is on a fast track, and both leaders are in sync on the common goal they want to achieve for India and Seychelles.
Look at Megha, they don't deny the fact why Seychelles is important to us. It's a strategic location, and that's why it is called as a gateway to basically a global south, and it is the closest to the East African country. In case if we have our relationship with Seychelles, the best of it, not only you can explore that 1.3 million, the economic zone which is there, but also can have our access to global south. Now, having said that, there are three, four things which stand out where we can cooperate. See, our trade between India and Seychelles is not too much. It is $73 million, which India exports somewhere pharmaceutical, rice, basmati, as well as motor vehicles and all. But tourism is the one main life as far as Seychelles is concerned. 35% of GDP come there. What India can do is that we can now increase relationship to a very higher level. That is by doing what all our trade has to increase. Second thing is we have to have a coordination, cooperation in cyber, in space cooperation, also basically on maritime sort of exploration. Blue economy is very important. Digital economy is another very important issue. So the point is, Seychelles is a country where we can have a springboard to now go to East African countries. Also try to create a situation wherein our economic relationship build up with them, because this is very important if you want to become from developing to a developed country. That Mahasagar which we are dictating will only come when you have best of the relation with island country like Seychelles, and from there you then give a swing and go to East African country, grow to a global south, and also ensure that maritime security is there. Remember, the static location of Seychelles is so important. No one can say that you can have a less importance. And second thing is the piracy, counter-terrorism. These are very important things which are as on today in Indian Ocean, which is there.
Right.
But overall,
Okay.
I can say that as we are unfolding things, as Prime Minister Modi is giving importance to Seychelles, our relationship are going from strength to strength. I feel that economic relation will also grow from pillar to strength.
Okay, all right. On that note, I'm out of time, but I thank all of you for joining me on the telecast and sharing your views. I'll take a short break. Thanks for watching NewsX.